live. It is converting. Let's see, make sure it goes live in the group real quick. All right, bam. We're good to go. So, welcome. I hear myself. I hear the echo.
I fixed it.
All right, back in action. I was out last week. Our fearless leader, Chris, was able to take you guys through a couple of really cool topics, talking about sequences and follow-up. And this week, we're talking about messenger compliance. Things are changing. And a lot of people are wondering what that means for what they've built out so far in Messenger. And like, is it still as valuable as it once was thought to be? What's the future look like? What about 2020 and those updates? So what we're here to tell you today is, number one, the new messenger compliance and what's going on, right? Because we do have to abide by that. Those are the rules. And number two, how you can stay within it, but also maximize your bot and still get results from it. And then there's a little bonus topic at the end. I'm going to touch on Facebook ad compliance, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but if you're running a real estate ad, it's under a special category now and it affects targeting. So I'm going to touch on that at the end. But without further ado, I want to introduce my co-host, Chris Mueller.
What's going on, guys? Good to see you again. Good to have Jeff back in the house. Yep. Have some good banter. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. So, Chris, why don't you break down for us? I think that you have a better grasp on it than I do. What's going on with messenger compliance? What's the deal?
Yeah. So for those of you guys that aren't like super technical on the ins and outs of what messenger restrictions are and the technical stuff, good news. Everything's changing and you don't have to worry about learning the past because it's different. So we'll save you and just cut straight to the chase. And now you just need to know about the future. So with that being said, guys, the future, what the future means is, originally you had a 24-hour rule where you could send as much content to the people as you want. You can essentially spam, and that's what some people were doing, which is why these rules are changing. They were just sending message after message after message without any interaction from the user, right? Like, other than the initial opt-in, they weren't taking any action. So it was a bad user experience. Facebook is all about the user experience. So they just went ahead and said, you know what, we're going to shut that down. And with Facebook, everything takes time. So they let the marketers and everybody, for the developers, know about these changes ahead of time. So for us right now, you've got about a 5-month runway. These changes aren't going to take effect until January 15th of 2020, but it's good to talk about them now because it brings up a good topic of conversations, right? The conference that's actually coming up next week it's labeled appropriately Conversations Conference. Me and Jeff are both going to be going to that thing. Some really great knowledge is going to be dropped. But the reason I bring up the word conversations is, and I'm going to get to the topic. I know I got off topic. I'm digressing a little bit.
I like how you're digressing. It's real. Actually, I like where you're going with it. Continue.
Cool. So the conversations are what sparked this whole thing in the very beginning, right? A couple of years ago, they introduced Facebook Messenger as a ad platform. They released that you can start, marketing on this platform. Manychat, other softwares like Chat Fuel, and these other components started growing and blossoming from this whole thing. So with any new technology, there's going to be changes. There's going to be things that are affected. There's going to be superheroes and there's going to be villains. Based on what the villains are doing, the superheroes have to take action. And unfortunately, superheroes can't win with just love, so they have to use force. That force is the kids aren't playing well in the sandbox. So the parent had to come in and basically step in and say, hey, these are the new rules of how you can play in the sandbox. If you don't like those rules, get out. And that's essentially what Facebook is doing. They're making it so that you're either going to play nice by the rules or you can find something else to do, right? Like there's email marketing you can still do. There's SMS marketing you can do. All these other platforms you can, mess around with. But Facebook is holding true to their core value, which is we're all about the user experience. everything that they always do, the ads, how they, have the user experience in the display, the pop-up, the news feed, all of these updates and changes are making it better and easier for the user to get what information they want and in the way that they want to consume it. So what does this mean about the 24+1 rule? So like I said, you had 24 hours to follow up with these people that have opted into your bot. You could communicate with them. You could send them the information that they had requested. You can even send them additional information for promotional content and upsell them on different things. So as real estate agents, right, what does that mean for you, right? They go to your site or they see an ad on Facebook. They click, I want to chat with you. They get put into the bot and you take them through the introductory, it's called the welcome message. Maybe they decide to start communicating with you and they send a few messages. Maybe they go through your entire welcome message and then they get opted into what's called the sequence. All of this stuff is designed to give the customer an experience like we talked about earlier, right? Giving them the experience of you're a valuable asset to them. You have a very extensive knowledge base. You know what you're talking about, and you're not just another guy that they can find, in the yellow pages. So with all of that being said, any kind of message outside of that 24 hours is now going to be closely monitored. So barring they interact with you, it's the first day. Let's talk about what happens after that. What does it mean for you? All right. So we've got all these sequences set up. With the advertising side of things, there's broadcast where you can send one message to many people. If you have any experience with like email broadcasting, it's very similar, but Facebook is pretty much putting their foot down and saying we are nothing like email and we choose to respect our users. So if you want to play in our sandbox like you do in an email sandbox, it's not going to work. So what that means for you guys, right? Like, let's talk about that. The sequences were set up to engage users and stay top of mind. We talked about always be marketing, branding, that omnipresence, all of these different, marketing tactics. So if your end user does not interact with your bot, now there's very, very strict guidelines on this. If you have a link that goes to a website and they click on that, that does not count as an interaction because you're taking them outside of the Messenger platform and it doesn't continue the conversation for them within the platform. So if you do want to send them offsite, and this is us thinking technically, like, what are we going to do for you as a business? And that's why you guys are a part of this group. You're a part of this group to be a part of a mastermind that is giving you advanced information ahead of time. So you're not scrambling and just trying to figure out, well, how am I going to make this work for my business? That's what we do. That's what we're here for. So when you send somebody into a sequence, if it's after 24 hours, they have to do something in order for you to send them more messages. Otherwise, you're going to be flagged. It could, shut down your Facebook page, all the negative, naughty things that you don't want to have happen. Facebook is basically saying, all right, we have got to set some guidelines here. All right, so the sequence happens. They don't interact. You're not going to be able to send them more messages. That's just kind of what's coming. Now, we don't know how this is going to look. Facebook is going to make these changes by January 15th. Manychat, the company that we work with for the platform, as far as building, they are extensively working with Facebook and always in constant communication with them on how to make their platform better and how to integrate this into their systems. So I guarantee you come January 15th, we're already going to have a game plan. We're already going to have these changes, updated and ready to roll out for you guys. So you shouldn't notice too much change on your end. It's all us learning how to play within the rules. If you want to know more, you can always jump into the developers, Facebook page, and you can see all that information. Great information there. But if you just want to leave it up to us, I'm going to explain a little bit more about how you can, deploy a marketing strategy using chatbots if you are building on your own. So let's say you're building on your own and you think, all right, well, if they can't engage with this bot and I can't send them more messages, what's the point of having a 6-month follow-up or even a 30-day follow-up if they're not engaging with this bot, right? Because essentially, if they don't engage with that first message, none of the other messages are going to be going out. Now, again, guys, this is not like today. So don't freak out. Don't lose your mind. We've got 5 months to prepare and plan for this and really deploy something that's solid. So if this sounds kind of ambiguous or, theory based, it's because it is. We don't know what changes Facebook is going to fully develop and deploy, and we can't react to that until we know. And they do a really good job of letting us know. So don't worry. We're just talking theory here. So they don't interact with that first message. Your 30-day sequence is now dead. Or is it? The theory behind the sequences is to get them to take some sort of an action, right? Give them value in a sense that allows them to customize their journey, know where they want to go, and consume content at their leisure. Before we did some special tools with quick replies, and we wanted to do that for the fear of missing out, right? So FOMO. If somebody has a quick reply on their page and you send up a follow-up message right behind it, that quick reply disappears and you can only see the options in that new message. This is good, and this is how we're going to start talking strategy, right? So if you start training the behavior of this is going to disappear, you need to take action now, and you kind of set the copy and the content. Again, we're making our bot more human by attempting to get them to take an action today, not tomorrow, not next month. You have to simplify the process. So some of these sequences, especially these 6-month sequences, are delivering value about life experiences and home selling or home buying experiences specifically, and how they can learn about the process so that they're not in the dark. They don't have to blindly trust other people that they are quote unquote experts. They get to make themselves a pseudo expert and feel more comfortable about everything, right? So we have to gamify this process now. It can't just be you're in the sequence and I'm going to send you a message and I'm using my intuitive saying, I'm not going to spam you every single day. I'm being a responsible marketer. I'm going to send you a message every 4 days or even every 7 days. You guys know how these sequences are built out if you have the software, right? What we have to do now is take action and give them a message that elicits a response, right? We can't just say, yeah, we hope you saw this one, but if you didn't, the next day, here's another one. Well, we hope you saw that one, but if you didn't, here's another one. And you just kind of stay top of mind. Now we have to shift and pivot to say, all right, how do I get you to click or engage with me? Even if it's as simple as saying, what's your favorite color? Pick a number 1 through 10. Do you want to choose what's behind door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3? You do these simple things to engage the user, which improves your overall messenger response rate, which improves your training of getting people accustomed to using Messenger for the communication with you. So now they're engaging with Messenger more. Now you're getting better ad rates because you're keeping people on Facebook longer, and you're having people enjoy the experience more because it's fun for them. It's not just, hey, here's some more house stuff. Here's some more stuff that you might potentially use in 6 months, in 8 months. Hey, here's something that I'm really good at that I think you should know. It's, hey, we want to make this fun for you. It's going to be centered around real estate, but here's some options for you. Check it out. And you're going to have better interaction. So when you do actually reach out to these clients, they're going to have a better understanding of who you are. They're going to have seen more messages, which is only going to boost and increase not only your click-through rates, but also your open rates, because people are expecting messages from you, right? You have to change the logic and the copy, the context of the message saying, hey guys, I'm going to be sending you a message tomorrow. Be on the look for it. In that message, we're going to be talking about the next thing that's in your process, right? So you can talk about mortgage rates. You can talk about selling secrets. And that's the thing. Everybody loves secrets, right? So if you gamify the system by saying, not only am I going to send you a message tomorrow, but here's what to expect. This is what I want you to do in that message. Now it's up to them whether they take action or not. And the great thing is, let's say you've got them on a 30-day seller sequence or a 30-day buyer sequence, whatever it is. They engage in the first message. You tell them, hey, I'm going to be sending you a message tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to be sending you the top tips for this, this, and this. Go ahead and choose which one you want to look at now. Boom, you just got them for another 24 hours. So that you can send that message. And then when you get that message, hey, so here's the journey that you selected. I wanted to talk a little bit more about it. If you want to check out the other ones, by all means, go check out the other ones that we have available after you check this one out, because I know you wanted this one first. Without further ado, here it is. Click to see the next message. Boom, you get it for another 24 hours. You continue, repeat, keep going. And it's not invasive. It's not like, hey, here's this super spammy message, check it out, or don't. And then they don't. And then they don't use your bot, and then they don't follow up with you. You don't resonate with them. They don't see you as an expert, and they just want to be done with that bot, because it's like a sour taste in their mouth, right? It's a bad experience. And Facebook is looking to avoid those situations by making us as marketers and you as agents think more responsibly, because 5 years ago, these conversations weren't happening. People weren't on Messenger on the regular. They weren't communicating with real estate agents on Facebook. They were probably doing word of mouth, doing drive-bys, seeing the listing phone number on the house that they wanted to buy, calling people directly. So the whole game has changed. And that's why don't freak out about these subtle changes when this massive shift in communication and conversations is just starting. It's in the infancy stage. We're still 2 years into this entire process. I guarantee you, real estate did not look the same way it does today back in 1920, but people were still buying houses. People will still continue to have conversations, and they always will have conversations. Our natural ability as humans is to tell stories. Messenger marketing is just another way to tell stories. And now we're being told, hey, the way some of you guys are telling stories is really bad, and it's not appropriate for our audience. And we're doing our best to protect billions of users. And we're telling you how you can tell these stories. Here's the guidelines. Just like TED Talks. You don't go onto a TED Talk and just kind of ad lib and throw things out there and don't have a plan. They give you 10 minutes and you interview for those 10 minutes. And if you don't do well on that interview, you don't talk on TED Talks. It's the same exact thing here, guys. You will play by Facebook's rules because there is no other software on the planet that is like Facebook. It just doesn't exist. And until there does, they can do whatever they want. So they're just making sure that everybody's playing nice and they're protecting their end user, especially after Cambridge Analytica and all the data stuff. I mean, I don't know if you guys have watched the series on Netflix, but they talk about how there's 5,000 data points on every single human being in the world. 5,000. That's out there just kind of floating. Some people have it. Others are trying to get it. And you don't even know what that looks like. Most people don't care. Eventually you will care and you'll want to have control of that. There's nothing in place right now. If you want to say, hey, I want all 5,000 of those data points back, good luck. You don't even know where to start to look for it, right? So Facebook is doing their due diligence because we are a little bit ignorant to the fact of, wow, there's a lot of technology. There's a lot of stuff that we don't even know is happening. And Facebook is doing the best to protect the people from the people that are looking to abuse that data or do something that is not appropriate. So we just have to pivot. And I want to get Jeff's thoughts because he has been stewing in thought. And I love when his brain starts turning. So I want to see if he has any questions or comments or additions.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot going on in my head right now. So with the 24+1, it went from, okay, you have 24 hours and then one follow-up message to come January 15th, it's just going to be the 24 hours. And so, like Chris said, this isn't here yet. Some of the things have been already updated as of August 1st. But the bot that we have right now is compliant with messenger marketing so far. And you already know that Chris and I are going to be building things prior to January 15th for you guys that will also be compliant. So this isn't like a conversation where you need to fear what's going on or think like, oh wow, I have so much work to do, because that's one of the other benefits of being in this program is you get the updates. You get ongoing updates as long as you're a member that will send you a new template that you can once again just it plugs right in, you can customize it, and this will only continue to get better but also evolve with these messenger marketing and compliance updates on Facebook's end. And the other piece of it is I really see this becoming more of a not only lead nurture from an outgoing perspective, but also a customer service bot from an incoming perspective. Because if we can train the end user to reach out to the Facebook bot for you when they have a question, and we continue to train the AI database with all of our agents, then that AI database is only going to get stronger and stronger. And at 11 p.m. on Saturday night, it'll be able to instantly respond back and get them an answer to a question, or dynamically pull information from a specific listing and serve it to them. Like there's some things that we're not quite there yet, but my vision and Chris's vision and the people that we already had meetings set up with to go meet up at the Conversations Conference next week, we have some really cool things on the horizon where this could end up being such a valuable channel for the end user that the 24-hour rule kind of wouldn't mean anything because they would be reaching out to you, right? And that's true inbound marketing. And that's a true, like, you have something so valuable and you get back to them instantly every time. Why would they even waste their time going to Google or looking for any other agent when they know that when they message you on Messenger, bam, they instantly get the answer they're looking for? So that's the experience that we're building. And I'm grateful that you're a part of it because, you know, we're with every new user, it gets better and better. And so that's where my vision is going. It's like a lot of the compliance is around outbound marketing from marketer to end user. They want to restrict that. What if you just have the honey? Like, what if all the bees are just coming to you, right? And so that's my take on it. Is I wouldn't be too concerned about it. This is a update and letting you know that we're already ahead of it, but we want to make you aware of it. And then the other piece of it is we are also working on the AI database every single week, making it better and better. That way, end users are just going to be coming to us and it's going to become so valuable. You're going to be armed with technology and that will help you compete with the Zillows and the Redfins and the technology companies that are trying to replace you. So yeah, with that being said, like that's my vision for it and kind of my 2 cents on this update, because yes, it will kick spammers out of Messenger. Great. Good. Like we don't need people ruining bot experiences for others. Like from the beginning, I've always felt like permission-based marketing was a way better way to go. And when Messenger came around and Manychat and they were pitching, look, guys, you need permission from people to send them stuff. And they were like, you really need people's permission. Like, and Facebook, you have to opt in, you know? I just really appreciate that. It's much more ethical. But then past that, like, I would rather have something so valuable that that customers are coming to me, right? And so we're building that for you as realtors to have homeowners and home sellers talking to their friends like at a dinner party. Oh, wait, you know, you're selling your home. Oh, you gotta this guy right here. He gets back to you all the time because once again, every single time the AI responds, it's like your face. It's your little bot and your Facebook Messenger. So, you know, 2 a.m. I texted him with a question, got back to me. So yeah, that's the vision and that's where we're heading.
I love it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, is it's always getting better. It's not this thing that you said it once and that's it. I don't think there's been one thing that is technology based, at least, that has been implemented on day one and is still running that same way today. Like there's been businesses that look at Blockbuster Video. They had a solid business, people renting movies. That's gone. It's all digital now. And Netflix just took over. Like Netflix approached Blockbuster and said, hey, do you want to partner with us on this thing? And they're like, nah, we're good. Like we've got this system. Good luck with that whole digital
Remember
thing.
how Netflix started? they would mail you a single DVD and then you'd have to mail it back in order to get another one. That's how
Yep.
Netflix started. They didn't have the server capability to and the technology to have it all online. Now you fast forward a couple years and it is. So it just proves the point. Everything's always evolving, especially in the technology age. So all you can do is adapt, and that's why we're here, is to help you adapt, to stay ahead of it, to come up with a game plan together, and also create a new template and push it to you. And that way it's like as little effort on your end as possible as the realtor. That way you can focus on selling homes. um,
Well, and that too is seeing it for what it is. Like a lot of people misunderstood what chatbots were, what messenger marketing is, and they went down the wrong path. And Facebook is just kind of redirecting. They did little subtle nudges at first. People weren't listening. They're like, yeah, yeah, okay, I hear what you're saying, but I got this thing. I'm doing it this way. Like, don't worry about me. Now they're resetting the road. They're like, all right, there's walls on the side. The road goes this way. You can't go any way that you want. It's this way or not at all. You
right.
can turn around and go back.
So with that being said, we covered the messenger compliance and kind of what's shifting, what's changing. Mainly it's around the 24+1 rule and the broadcasting that changed August 1st, meaning you can't just blast your list all the time. So with that being said, just make sure to be careful about how you're interacting with the people that are on your list. Of course, you can be serving ads and doing these things and nurturing them. And again, the messenger bot that's currently built is compliant now, and then we'll update it pretty soon here, but definitely update it prior to January 15th with a new build. And then there were three things. What was the next thing? That was like messenger compliance.
I know you wanted to talk about Facebook ads.
Yeah, that's like the last thing.
Yep.
Messenger compliance. Well, we could talk a little bit about like conversations. So conversations conference next week, Chris and I will be there. And basically it's the second ever chatbot conference. So with that, this thing is truly in its infancy and it's going to continue to grow and evolve, but we're really on the cutting edge of this stuff. And as realtors that are on the cutting edge of how communication is changing, you are setting yourself up to really be ahead of the curve in the next 2 to 3 years. Because as things continue to evolve and mobile first technology becomes even more important, mobile first meaning Messenger was made for the phone, email was reformatted for the phone, right? Like mobile first. These types of technologies are going to crush and become even more highly adopted from a user base standpoint in the US and Canada. Usage rates are only trending up when like email open rates and things like that are trending down. Messenger apps are growing far more than social media apps. So it's a really interesting world to be in, especially with 5G coming out. With 5G coming out and some of the new capabilities, that's going to essentially open up the throttle that has been restricting a lot of the richer media and the things to be transmitted. For example, like you could send a 25 megabyte email. Well, same with Messenger. You can send a 25 megabyte video or whatever through Messenger. Well, what happens when people can stream a gig up and down per second? That's what 5G is promising, is a gigabyte up and down walking around metro areas. That's like 10 times faster than the fastest residential Wi-Fi at 100 megabytes per second. A gig up and down. So what does that unlock? That unlocks VR, augmented reality. That unlocks the ability to instantly hop on a FaceTime with somebody, add other people. At the latest iOS update, you can now add up to 32 people on FaceTime. Like the things that are being unlocked and in a messaging and like handheld mobile device area are crazy. And what we're doing next week is meeting with some developers that can help us plug in directly to the MLS. That potentially, it's not 100%, but my vision is to have an end user be able to be in a realtor's bot, text them a specific address or a specific zip code and get messenger responses, bam, instantly, clean in Messenger, that's tied to the MLS, and it gets right back to them based on their criteria. And it can also look at additional things like, is there an island in the kitchen, and has it been renovated recently, and answer things above and beyond the general MLS. So we have some big visions and goals, and we're meeting with some people next week at Conversations Conference. So after we get back, we actually go Thursday, Friday through the weekend. So not the next weekly hot seat, but the following one, we'll have a ton of updates for you, like all kinds of updates, brand new stuff from Manychat, what's next, how they're going to evolve and adapt to what's coming. So it's going to be really exciting in the next 2 weeks. And then we'll be able to strategize for 2020.
Love it.
What do you have? I know you got something.
Do I have something? I always have something.
Yeah.
I was just going to touch on, you were talking about the decline of emails, right? That's what Facebook is preventing with this. They recognize that email has become very spammy. People stop using email. So as a business, why wouldn't you prevent the demise of your brand and your business if you've seen it happen already, right? Like, yes, Messenger is only one piece of Facebook, but it's a very big piece. There's billions of messages happening every month inside this platform. And it's an accent to an already exploded social feed with pictures and comments and all this information, right? Like, you can literally scroll through Facebook for hours on end with suggested videos and just get lost in it. Why can't you do the same thing with a conversation, right? Why wouldn't you want to have a conversation with a real estate agent at 2 a.m. that goes until 3 a.m. because you are on the night shift as a nurse and you don't have time to talk during the day during normal business hours? Like, maybe you're just an ER nurse, or maybe you work the grave shift and you have questions and you're super serious about, buying a new home, but you don't have time to talk during the 9 to 5. You maybe need to have off hour times. And this bot is going to be not a saving grace, because I don't want you to think of this as replacing you. Because a lot of people will talk about, well, robots are replacing every job. I don't want it to replace real estate. It can never replace a salesperson. You have to have that one-to-one interaction where you're delivering exactly what the person needs in real time. You can adjust to their emotive stance, like how their face changes during certain conversations. Are they being fully, transparent with you? Like, all of these things bots can't do yet. Eventually, hopefully, that's well into the future. But again, we're having conversations with people, and Facebook is just protecting themselves. They don't want to be the next email and lose this massive undertaking that they have probably spent billions of dollars developing. I mean, they're removing a specific feature from it, which was the scannable code, because they wanted to make the platform faster, just like Jeff was talking about. If you can make something faster, download more data quickly, and completely change the end user experience, it unlocks all the potential for everything else that's coming. Mm-hmm. So again, guys, this is all about conversations. How can you have them better? How can you have them more effective? And it's business in general. Business is changing. How can you communicate with specific people that maybe wouldn't have reached out to you originally? A lot of people like texting nowadays. They don't like necessarily picking up a phone and calling a stranger. They're just socially uncomfortable. So we're giving them more options, giving you more opportunities. And that's what this is, where it's a win-win, right? You're connecting with people you may not have connected with in the past. You're delivering value to people without having to put a ton of extra work in it, working long hours. I mean, would you want to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Or would you like the opportunity to appear that you are always available? And then when it is time for you to take the next action and actually step in and take over the conversation, you just nail it home. That's what we're building, is something that is setting you up to be a superhero in an ordinary world. And the people that are not on these types of systems, they're only going to be missing out, and they're going to be further and further behind. They're going to be that 1920s real estate agent that is still walking door to door, delivering newspapers and saying, hey, you selling your house? Doesn't work anymore. Good luck. I'm sure it does work, but not in the way it did back in the 20s.
And yeah, the whole point of this system is to generate that sales conversation, right? It's the average real estate lead nowadays is an 11-month sales cycle. Some are this month, some are 2 years from now, 3 years. So I took like 3 years to buy my house. And I was just like, I was in the market, and then I was kind of like waffling, and then I was out, and then I was back in, and then I was like, it's not a good time. And like 2.5 years later, I finally bought. But I did it with the same lender and the same real estate agent because we kept in touch. And so, with that being said, it's like, what are we doing through that process? We're nurturing them, we're offering them value. You don't need to be a part of every single little interaction that happens when we can automate some of that and free up your time to do business development, to do client retention with past clients, to do all these other value, money motivated things like actual valuable acts, not income producing activities, right? Not like minimum wage activities where you're just like doing a little quick follow up, or you're compiling a list of properties for this person. It's like, no, they should do a custom saved search and have a property list delivered to them every day if they want, automatically. And then boom, when they're ready, you go take them to the property and unlock the door and do the showing, right? So again, that's the whole purpose. And that's why we're here. So with that being said, let's move on to Facebook. So Facebook ads. I just right before this, I had like 15 minutes and I shot a video going over how to do the new special category for Facebook ads. So the reason why I did that is because if you run a real estate ad, like a lead generation ad, just as we've already taught you in this course, it will not go through. It will be declined. It'll say inactive. It'll say not approved. Then when you go in and see why, it's because at the beginning, you did not mark the special category. The special category now is housing. There's housing, employment, and one other, credit or something like that. But anyway, there's 3 categories. Unfortunately, housing is one of them, and that includes rental listings and lead generation efforts on Facebook for real estate. What does that mean? Well, when you put it into a special category, it it restricts you from using certain audience targeting techniques, which in Facebook's mind would discriminate against certain demographics or people. So what does that mean in like layman terms? Well, you can't do hyper focused zip code targeting for real estate based on zip code, income, ethnicity, male, female. If you mark housing, basically what you can do is a custom audience. Still, you can still do a retargeting audience from your website. You can do a retargeting audience from a video view. So that's good. The big negative is that you can no longer do lookalike audiences, which is a bummer. So if you mark housing, as of right now, at least, they might change it back, but you can't do lookalike audiences. You have to do, it's called a special ad audience. And it essentially takes some of the power away from us as marketers to do a lookalike audience, and it gives some of that power to Facebook. So what I mean by that is a lookalike audience is if you had like a customer list of 1,000 people, you've sold 1,000 homes in your real estate career, right? You have 1,000 people in the Excel spreadsheet. You could upload that. And then in the past, you could have done a lookalike audience nationwide or within your city of people on Facebook that resembled your paying clients. Super valuable, right? We've done this as marketers. I've done this for years. But now you can't do that. So instead of us dictating, like, I want, these people based on this list to be in this area and do a lookalike audience and go look for people like that. Instead of that, now what needs to happen is you essentially give that to Facebook and you be a little bit more general and broad and you set them in the right direction. And then they will do the targeting on a lookalike basis. It's similar, but from what I've read in the help documentation, they ensure that it is both valuable to you as a business, but also non-discriminatory. So they're taking that like option off the table to do that crazy hyper targeting. So it is what it is. I just created a video walkthrough of how to do this for your ads to ensure that they still continue to get approved and run. So at the end of the day, it's another thing like we're adapting. in order to survive, right? And we're adapting in order to thrive as well. Like we can still do well on Facebook for real estate ads. And in order to stay ahead of that, you just got to make sure that you keep being a member of stuff like this, you keep going to conferences, you keep learning and growing. And that way you could stay ahead of the curve. So that's the update there. Once again, the video, I'll be uploading it, like editing it and uploading it tonight. That'll be available in the bonus section under Facebook ads. So I don't know, Chris, like I'm more like in the day to day of the Facebook ad and kind of what's going on with real estate and Facebook ads. But do you have any feedback on that or any additions?
Yeah, and the only addition that I have is I wanted to just break it down for the everyday guy, right? We've been talking about a lot of high level stuff on this episode especially, right? Because we digressed super hardcore into what conversations were, and all of these changes with Facebook and Messenger, and it's a lot. We, as in you and I, are experts in that field because we're in that every single day. Like you just said, you do Facebook ads day in and day out. We have to live by these compliance rules, and they are a part of who we are every single day. Most of you guys probably either aren't familiar with every single aspect or have your thumb on the pulse of what Facebook is doing, and you rely on us and this group as far as giving you updates on that data. You might have other sources as well. So what I wanted to kind of present, and I'm going to ask you, Jeff, like, let's say this is way over people's heads and they're just like, wow, that's a lot of information. I'm sure it's all great and good. I don't really understand what that means for my business. And I don't have time, to be honest with you. I'd much rather do the interactions and do the follow-ups. And I just want something that works. I want to get in the car and know that it's going to start and get me to where I want to go. I don't want to know that I need to change my brakes, my oil, and all that stuff. So if people have questions like that, what are the options for them, and kind of like what could they do if they want more, or even something that's done for them? Like, are there options there?
Yeah, totally. So it's a great question. And it's something that I don't really mention on here, which I'm realizing as you're saying this that I should be mentioning this more. Um, we have done for you services available, and we have it priced both for the broker and team leader, as well as more for the individual agent. So if that's something you're interested in, if you're just like, this is way too much, like I kind of set it up, it's probably halfway done. I watched like 2/3 of the videos and I like set up my bot, and maybe you guys link the AI, but like I haven't done anything since. I haven't even run my first Facebook ad. Well, there are options for that. So what they can do is message the concierge and just ask, hey, I'm interested in done for you. And it'll probably be me. Like we would just hop on a little call. I would see where you're at, if you have a team, if you're an individual agent, and then I would present an option that would make sense based on what tier you are in the business. And we've worked with anyone from like a brand new agent who just left a career in something completely different and just started being a real estate agent at 40. And we've also worked with people that have been in the real estate world for 25 years. So literally like wide open as far as the price points and like where that done for you service falls. We can do the most big, crazy, advanced, hyper targeting, measurement marketing, crazy stuff for like the big guys that can afford it and want that next level cutting edge stuff. And they can also afford the ad spend that would make sense. And they have a team that can convert that amount of leads. But if you're just an individual agent, you want like 60 leads a month and you don't want this like crazy big retainer, then we could work something out too. So I would just have them message the concierge. This is completely going over your head and like you still haven't run a Facebook ad, but you've been in for like 2 or 3 months or whatever. You can always message the concierge. There are options to have some of this done for you.
Love it.
Yeah.
That was just my 2 cents. That's all I wanted to add.
Thanks, man. Well, with that, we had a good live today, 45 minutes. So I'm going to let them go. Let's check real quick for any questions in the group. Let's see here. Looks like we are clean of questions. We are always so thorough. Watch this video in the group. Nice. All right, cool. Well, a lot of people catch the replay. So I mean the live is cool, the fact that we do it live and people can hop in, but it's all good that it's kind of formed more into a replay type of environment because a lot of people have been commenting after and like weeks later, like I've gotten comments and replied and created a new little training based on it. So yeah, it's all good. I'm glad that we're just gaining momentum with content and keeping consistent. So, that's all we can do. And I'm sure there's going to be an influx of new users very soon. I have a good feeling.
Love it.
All right, man. Well, thanks. I appreciate you. Thanks everyone who did tune in either live or on the replay. And we will catch you guys next Wednesday at 6 to talk about an undisclosed topic that we will launch next week. Later.
See ya.